Srivastava and the entire team of BARSYL here for making me the chief guest and deliver a keynote address. And it is really very, I find it very, a proud moment to be associated with BARSYL because I know BARSYL for a very long time. You see, the fact that BARSYL has done so well, you have done about 900 plus projects, you have been in about 19 countries, you have done the work, and you are very well known. I think the BARSYL could have taken a different path to growth because the founders of BARSYL were people who were absolutely wonderful people. And one of them was Mr. M.B. Srinivasan, one of the founders of BARSYL, under whom I had actually joined the Western Railways. So he was my chief freight traffic manager, and then the chief operations manager, general manager. Then later on became member traffic. I have to tell you that I haven't met a better man since I met him. And he retired in 94 as member traffic, and I retired in 20. So 26 years I was there after he retired. I couldn't find a better person. He was tough. He was very dedicated, very intelligent, very tough, and he can actually be after your blood, but very affectionate. At the end of the day, he was almost like a father figure to all of us. To my two batches, to me, my batch and batch junior, to our 4 or 5 batches, he was almost like a father figure. What values Mr. Srinivasan had. I don't know about the other founders, but they're all very famous people. But since I worked with Mr. Srinivasan, I can tell you, there could have been a better person BARSYL could have found to grow. I have visited BARSYL in between. I used to come and meet him whenever I came to Secunderabad. And it was always a pleasure to meet him. And the office I used to meet him, and the office today, there's a huge difference. You guys have done very well. So congratulations for the growth. You see, this is the first time I'm speaking to an audience which is basically not in the government sector. I have been addressing to people who from the railways or from the government sector. So there the things are different. Private sector, maybe the goals, objectives are different. So pardon me if I sound a little different than what you have been listening to. You see, the one thing that in my 40 years of service, which I would like to tell you is, one thing that has mattered, and that is the only thing that matters in my opinion, is what you bring to the ultimate customer. That is the only thing matters. It took me 11 years in the railways before I understood the work that I am doing doesn't matter a bit, even a bit, if the ultimate customer is not happy with it. And I am telling you, you may do any type of research, anything you can do. If your customer is not satisfied, you are a failure. Please note that. Your success comes only when your ultimate customer is happy. And I am telling you, because I have put in 4 decades of service in a railways, which is a public service. And I know what it means. The point is that most of the people forget. For example, let's take BARSYL. I'm not pointing out you, but just an example. If your client is the railways, the one way to look at it is whatever I do should make the railways happy. He is my client. Making railways happy is not the end of it. I'm sorry. That is what most of the people do. Most organizations do. I have dealt with a huge number of them. your suburb will be good if the client of the railways, which is the public, they feel happy with the work you have done. आपकी रिपोर्ट की कोई कीमत नहीं है अगर ultimate customer doesn't benefit from it. It may take a while for you to understand. You may satisfy your client by saying, "को बना के दे दियो, made a report, give it to him, or whatever he told you, completed the projects and all." Fine. But, and this will take time to understand that if the ultimate customer who is there, he is not satisfied, it's a waste of time. Please understand this, otherwise it doesn't work. आप खुश होते रहिए कि हमने कर दिया चलेगा. आपको बात आई होप बुरी नहीं लगनी चाहिए, लेकिन मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि अल्टीमेटली मेरे 40 साल पब्लिक सर्विस का एक ही नतीजा है. ओनली थिंग यू फाइंड इज if my ultimate customer didn't benefit, I didn't do my job well. Whatever the project or the assignment, whatever you call it. उसको करने के लिए, to make that customer, ultimate customer, to meet that customer, you need to understand what the customer wants. Please appreciate, जब तक वो अल्टीमेट कस्टमर को क्या चाहिए अगर आप नहीं समझेंगे, तो आप जो मान लीजिए रेलवे है, कोई भी है, कोई और मेट्रो है, उसको दे रहे हैं, फाइन, मेट्रो वालों के लिए काफी है. बट डिड यू रियली डू समथिंग गुड? व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल, BARSYL to get out of satisfying the customer to doing a real service to society and make a name for yourself. Or if we give to BARSYL, this is what you're going to get. You are all very smart, intelligent people, so you can do it, provided you go beyond your brief and see ultimately मुझे किसको सर्व करना है. You do it, I bet BARSYL will be spoken in far better what you call this thing than what is being done today. Capability में तो I don't doubt. All of you are very capable. I know most of you, good number of you. तो ये करिए. The only thing, if I can convince even 2% of the audience here to do that, I would have succeeded in what I wanted to say today. I was in charge of the investment planning of the railways for 5 years. That is, my desk was a desk where any project which had to be included in the rail budget, you hear project during the budget coming out. So it has to go through my desk. I can tell you 99.9% of the time, if I said yes, it would include it. If I said no, it won't get included. So we used to put in real huge hard work. And in the process, I must have read 500 survey reports, research reports, strategy reports, all types of documents. And I can tell you it's a huge number, and each running into 100, 200, 300 pages. I am very sorry to say that most of the report would only say what we wanted. Just limited themselves and washed their hands off. So I used to ask, I can also do it, only thing I don't have the time. But there was one report which made me think very differently. And that report is not very well known. It was the SNCF, the French National Railways, wrote a report on high-speed rail in India. I am not very sure how many have had access to it. So in around 2009 or 10 or 8 or 9, we were thinking of having a high-speed rail. So as the ED planning, executive planning, I had to float a global tender for a pre-feasibility study and all. Before we did that, at least we wanted to know what does a high-speed mean. What are we looking at? You see, technical part I always found is very easy. I mean, you can take technology from somewhere and put it. That's not a very big deal. But I tell you what this report spoke of, and it will look to you, "Arey, isme kuch nahi hai." But then think about it. It spoke about how the India is getting urbanized. What are the urban centers coming up in India? different states कहाँ पे growth है पिछले 10 साल 20 साल में 20 years where did the urban centers have come up. Then they said why they have come up, why some clusters like Hyderabad, Bangalore or Pune, Nashik, why they have come up. So then it is okay, here is an IT industry doing well, right? Or some places the industry is Gujarat, a good number of industries, Surat for example, jewelry and things like that. And most of us know that a large number of people from UP, Bihar, labor goes to Punjab for the agriculture. That we are aware. Then they also spoke about the propensity to travel. They said, लोग कैसे travel करते हैं? क्यों कर? मतलब whether their per capita income goes up, would they travel more? So they would say the elasticity of demand or travel elasticity of demand is very important. More income you get, I think all of you would accept that if your salaries have gone up, the first thing you do is to go on a tour. अगर इंडिया के बाहर नहीं पहले फॉरेन टूर लगाना है, am I right? Or am I wrong? So they spoke about the demographic pattern, how the demography is changing. Like a huge number of people are moving from one part of the country to the other part of the country. You find today in Hyderabad and all, a huge number of people from UP and Bihar. The moment such people come, they would like to travel to go back to their home and come back. Right? So, then what they did, they said, okay, this is what is happening. What are the traveling, what are the options these people have? What type of roads you have, what type of rail network you have, okay, what type of air links you have, and things like that. Then they said, okay, looking at all this, we would suggest some 7-8 corridors. And the first one is the very obvious one, I don't think we have to repeat, Pune, Bombay, Ahmedabad. The second one was Chennai to Bangalore, two IT cities. So when I read this report, then I said, yes, here is a report which spoke more, instead of saying कि high speed line from Bombay to Ahmedabad, and you have to make this type of bridges, you will have to do this type of technology, you have to do this type of electrification. They could have made a report like that. Am I right? They could have made a report. High speed आपको चाहिए. What the French railways are doing, they bring their own French, what they have done in France and Japan, or you could have taken Japanese this thing and gone ahead with that. But no, that report opened my eyes to something else. I stood educated after reading that report, and I think I had already done 2 years of executive director planning, and then I realized, God, missed out something. Then started looking at all these areas, what you are mentioning, urbanization, demographic changes, what is happening, migration that is taking place, and things like that. Since you do a lot of transport planning, BARSYL does a lot of transport planning, I would suggest that you start looking at these type of reports that keep coming everywhere. अगर इसको आप नहीं समझेंगे तो कोई फायदा नहीं। अगर आप इंडिया में कोई अर्बन ट्रांसपोर्ट या अर्बन प्लानिंग का कुछ करना चाहेंगे, आप दूसरे देश तो ऑलरेडी which were more developed than us, how they have come. So I would request that you have a good library or thing, make it accessible to all the people who are working here. What is happening in the other parts of the world? This I think will give you a huge amount of value addition. So based on that, what you call, then you can suggest. So when the high speed that reports came, how much they will be charging, whether it will be, so suddenly we thought high speed would be very expensive. So when the report and then other reports almost came, I said maybe wait. Then I realized that it is hardly marginally costlier than airline. At a particular level of traffic, it turned out that by and large air and rail are same. And rail is far more environment friendly. You'll all agree that rail is far more environment friendly, and I believe in France, you don't have any local airlines touching the local cities, all high speed, and they run very well. तो आप एज अर्बन ट्रांसपोर्ट जो भी यहाँ पे डील करें तो मेरा एक रिक्वेस्ट ये है कि आप बाहर क्या हुआ वो देखिए और कैसे यहाँ पे इसको कैसे हाउ टू इम्प्लीमेंट दैट. So that would be a great value addition to the customer or to your client. He will, okay, he'll look beyond, oh, I wanted to do this. Okay, there is something else that happened. Why can't I also do it and make it better? Make it better. Then what is this thing? So after this report came, then I realized that the connectivity between east, like let's say UP, Bihar to south is very poor. The existing routes are already very congested. You know, the routes via Nagpur and all that. So we took up the first, what you call project, gauge conversion of a place, of a section called Gondia Balasha. It's a graded section. And everybody was saying, what has happened to you? What? Gondia Balasha narrow gauge. I had to convince my member traffic, at least it took me 2 days to convince him, no, this is the route we want. 12 years later, that route is being doubled. Okay? So we can open up new areas. I mean, people are going to move from here to here, from the eastern part of India to the southern part of India. You provide facilities. Let me ask, if somebody is from Patna, how does the train go from Secunderabad to Patna? Tell you. I think within 1 hour the train gets, very 1 hour, even half an hour the train gets full. In fact, you put 3 more trains, they will go full, and I think 1 hour they will get booked. But there is no capacity to run those trains. You may have the coaches, but you don't have that. So my suggestion is, whenever we take an urban transport project, please help the client, let him have a bigger picture, so that they actually do something very, what you call, rather than meeting the local demand, they should go beyond that. So my suggestion is, instead of rehashing from a number of reports of others or yours and all that, try something new. Can you do it? And I'm sure all you guys will be able to do it. All young team are very bright people, so go correct. So my only request is, when you do these projects, please think beyond what the client wants. Just give him something to think beyond. So for doing this, as I said earlier, you have to update yourself continuously. You have to update yourself continuously. You can't, sit down and say, forget about it. Oh, I know about it, project happened. No. Please update yourself continuously, otherwise you'll fall backward. And then you have to be also relevant. Whatever you're proposing, is it relevant? Or what the client already knows. I'm telling you, a good number of reports which used to come to me, I already knew. I used to get nothing out of it. Just turn the page and put it down. We want something else. ये तो मुझे भी पता है. And I'm going to tell you something, believe me. We engaged none other than IIM Calcutta, Indian Institute of Management Calcutta, to do a logistics study on the dedicated freight corridor, the Eastern dedicated freight corridor. So the IIM Calcutta, including the director and all, I don't know why the director landed up, but he came and they made a presentation. My God, it was so bad. When we asked the questions, he didn't know where to look. And I recorded on the file and I said, not a pie should be paid to IIM Calcutta for such a shoddy report. This is already where they wasted our time. The moment I wrote that, my other colleagues also said, not a pie to be paid. And I told to the IIM Calcutta, you will not get 1 paisa out of this unless you do the report again. And we will inform others also that we gave a statement, we will put up to the minister saying that we gave a report to IIM Calcutta. Now they have messed up, so the project has got delayed. So you will not be able to get out of it. Let me tell you, we will bring it to the notice. Everyone that you did such a shoddy report. It took them another 6 months. This time they went out of the way, produced a report which was at least पहले वाले से far better. So we were looking. I mean, it can happen even. IIM Calcutta is supposed to be quite good, you know. Number 3 or top 3 IIMs of India. They made a complete mess. We had to ask them to leave. So my only request today is that whatever things you do, projects you take, first and last remain the customer. Second, update yourself continuously so that you don't just rehash something already available and bring it. And remain relevant. Whatever you do should be relevant. I mean, it should not be what you call imaginary. अब ऐसा कुछ पोस्ट करें कि वो हुआ ही. It has to be relevant to the subject. If you don't do that, I think you will become stagnant and others will go ahead of you, which I don't want to happen with BARSYL. So this is as far as the what you call customer and what you call being relevant, being updated thing. There are one or two other things which Mr. Srivastava, whatever I have followed principle, I would like to say one or two of them. Is that when I have found a problem, I have not forgotten that problem. I have kept it, I waited for a day when I could tackle it. I'll give you a simple example. In 1987-88, I was posted as area manager Gandhidham, which is the township for Kandla port. And it is the, what you call, very important port for transportation of petroleum products to northern India. It serves the northern hinterland, shortest and the fastest. And as luck would happen, I joined in 87 and there was a drought here. No water, every problem, and all kinds of products were getting imported. And you know what happens when there is a drought? You know, demand for what goes up immediately? Just think about it. Diesel. The moment there is a drought, everybody wants to run their, what you call, borewells. And there is a sudden huge demand for diesel. So we were told, you ensure that diesel is loaded in the railway tank wagon and dispatched without delay. So I said, fine. And then I find a very interesting thing, that tank wagons empty tank wagons which arrived after sunset could not be loaded till the sunrise. For 12 hours, virtually almost 12 घंटे तक वो वैगन खड़े रहते थे. Because एक रेलवे की किताब है, I don't know how many of you have read, there's a book called Red Tariff. Now that Red Tariff said no loading, unloading from sunset to sunrise. I said, this is fantastic. I got rates and rates, but I can't do anything about it. So I informed my headquarters, including Mr. Srivastava. I told everyone, मैंने कहा साहब ये क्या है, 12 घंटे तक रेक खड़े हैं वहाँ पे, वो oil industry is also very worried. We are also worried कि import is coming, but it has to go. So they had to put a large number of trucks. Tankers were also pressed into service. The roads were getting congested like anything. So 3 साल I was there, 3 years up to 19, nothing happened. No decision. So we kept on like that. In 94, I was posted as Director Traffic POL, as the in charge of the petroleum movement for all over the country. And I think it is my luck or whatever it is. I don't know how many of you are, 94, 95, there is a severe shortage of petroleum product in the country. But by the time the growth had happened, And Indian Oil's pipeline called Kandla Bathinda pipeline got delayed by 2 years. So the entire northern hinterland was in a bad shape. And believe me, every day in the morning at 10 o'clock in the Scope complex, chairman of IOC, BPC, HPC, myself, and Joint Secretary Petroleum Distribution, we used to have meeting every day at 10 o'clock. It's so critical. हम लोग सवेरे उठ के अपना पूरा पोजीशन लेके सब जाते. Crisis was very bad. In fact, there were times when the rake entered and it's opening time, they unload 2 wagons and start supplying so that otherwise the newspaper will say huge shortage. No oil in Delhi or no diesel in Delhi or no gas in Delhi like that. So I asked the oil industry, right, tell me now, why these wagons are waiting for 12 hours in the night? Why can't we make them work round the clock? So red tariff was quoted. Then there is a person called the Chief Controller of Explosives in Nagpur. I said, उनसे बात कर लेते हैं. So he said, no issue. Only thing you ensure lighting is there and firefighting fellows. So there is an oil industry safety directorate. वो भी ये कह रहे हैं कि साहब वो. I said, so what do you need? He said, we need flame-proof lighting, मतलब lights चाहिए और staff in the night in case anything happens. अभी तो we don't keep anybody because there is no activity. So I said, Kandla में 5:30 sometime in the winter it's pitch dark. I said, उससे ज़्यादा dark क्या हो? मुझे बताइए कहाँ problem है? Mr. Srivastava, believe me, there was hardly any input to be made in most of the locations. Only you have to get manpower. Okay. And within a short period, we got the okay from the oil industry. Then we had to amend the red tariff. And amending red tariff goes to the parliament. So it had to be laid on the floor of the house. So we had to get it done, amendment karaya, sab karaya. Gentlemen, believe me, with the same fleet, we loaded 3 million tons more that year. The pipeline was 6 million tons shortfall. With this single move, we were able to do 3 million tons more loading. Nobody will ever talk about this. हम भी भूल गए कि railway is a great organization. You do many of those things, nobody remembers, nobody says. Right? So it happened. Why I am saying is, if as area manager, if that problem which I faced, if I had forgotten it and it छोड़ो इसको क्या करना है, so this wouldn't have happened because it had been going on for years. See, this is not today's problem or yesterday's problem. It was there for 50 years, 60 years going on. So मेरी आप सबसे रिक्वेस्ट ये है कि when you in your projects or in your thing, wherever you find a problem, if you are at a level which nobody is listening to you, you will rise to that level someday. So can you set it right? So please note down somewhere कि ये मेरी problem है, इसको एक दिन में ठीक करूँगा. कोई ठीक और ठीक करके अलग बात है, but just keep a note of it. And yes, I will set it right. Nobody see the entire satisfaction is yours. You don't bother about पूरी दुनिया में कोई आपको क्या कहते हैं appreciate कर रहा नहीं कर रहा है. You have to satisfy yourself. Yes, there is a problem. I solved it. 3 million ton traffic means we got about 600 crores additional. I was joking to my member traffic. I said, had I been in any private company, I would have at least got 5 crores. अगर 600 करोड़ का बेनिफिट हो तो मुझे कम से कम 5 करोड़ तो कोई दे ही देता है 1%. इसने 600 करोड़ ट्रैफिक बिजनेस बनाया है, कम से कम इतना तो मुझे मिलना चाहिए. Forget about it, not even an appreciation letter. That doesn't make a difference. You see, Indian Railways was, क्योंकि यहाँ सब रेलवे वाले ही हैं, 1853, am I right? Imagine as executive director of planning, people used to come and किसी को कहीं लाइन चाहिए, किसी को कुछ चाहिए and all that. I found, yeah, how do you answer the person who says they want to put a railway line? What do I tell him? What are the terms and conditions? If you want to invest in the railway line, what are the terms and conditions? Is it not a logical thing to ask? Tell me. क्यों भैया कोई आपको कहे मैं डालूंगा तो वो कहेगा मुझे क्या मिलेगा? What do I get out of it? Am I right? Or is a wrong question to ask?
Very valid question.
Right?
जब बोलता है सानू की
Oh. So, Mr. Manoran, the issue was that railway had done 5 such projects. Virangam, Mokha, Virangam. Then you had one Pipavav Rail Corporation. Many of you would be aware. Then there was Kutch. Then there was Mundra. And I think there was one more. So I said, let me study all this. People are coming to me from all private, big players in Ireland saying we want to invest. I don't know what to tell them. It is amazing. The terms and conditions for all the 5 projects were totally different. It is an amazing thing that no terms and conditions would match. I will not name the project, but in one project, the railways gave 300 kilometers of the track and all facilities for 10,000 rupees per year. Imagine. I did a calculation. I said, अगर उस लाइन को मैं मीटर गेज से ब्रॉड गेज करता हूं, तो I spend 350 crores. But if I build a new broad gauge, I take 900 crores. Okay. So 600 crores is a sunk cost, which I had given at 10,000 rupees per year. Whole 300 kilometer, line kilometer. And all the assets, including the stations and the bridges and the culvert and whatnot, including track back, everything. Except we didn't hand over the railway staff. So, imagine. In some other case, we said, okay, for next 15 years, we will do the maintenance. Whether you give me traffic or not, I will do the maintenance. I said, which business does like this? So I sat down. I said, okay, the department, the person who had to do it was a different person. It has to be done by the Perspective Planning Directorate. तो मैं उनसे पूछा वो कोई जवाब ही ना दे. So then I sat down for about 1 year. Later we created a policy called R3I, Railways Infrastructure for Industry Initiative, and one we did for coal and iron ore. For the first time in April 2011, that is about 158 years after the railway was formed, we laid down for the first time in history, these are the terms and conditions for your private investment if you want to do in the railway. Okay? So now if somebody goes to the railways and say we want to, here are the what you call models, you pick up any one of them. After we did this, suddenly the concerned directorate got active. He said, Acha, then what they did, they added some jargon and all that. So combined the two policies and came up within 6 months another model, but by and large same. So today, if you want to make investment in the railway, I think you can easily see there are 5 models, which I think you must be aware of them, and you can do the investment now. So this is only to bring back the point that when you get into a problem, how to go about doing it, you must, what you call, spend your time and energy to overcome that problem. In fact, Mr. Srivastava had once told me that one of the, which I was not able to, were not able to, find correct time. When the COVID took place, when the COVID happened in 2020 March, the railways went into a lockdown. And fortunately or unfortunately, I happened to be the convener of the trains that railways ran for about 2 months to transport people from one place to the other. And when that happened, so I wanted to give a lecture, so I think we have to find time for that, it's a special subject. And believe me, I have the data. It proved exactly the number of trains from Gujarat, Maharashtra was the maximum. The people are going out and going into UP and Bihar, Jharkhand, and even Orissa. So that was a very good study that told people move from where to where. And that we highlighted to the board again. I said, this is what has happened in COVID to build capacity here. Otherwise, what will happen is you will not be able to meet the demand of the public. रेलवे में बहुत बड़ा जोक हम इसको मैं बोलता था कि हम फ्रेट के लिए प्लानिंग करते हैं और पैसेंजर ट्रेन चलाते हैं. Because the entire railway, although you see the whole Indian railway system, they will only talk about freight. I don't know if anybody talking about passenger here. हम लोग पूरा टाइम फ्रेट करते हैं, चलती गाड़ी पैसेंजर. Right? Look at Vande Bharat. Vande Bharat, in my personal opinion, because what I've spoken, has created a huge mess. The running of trains has become hell for some of the people who are posted in the field today. It eats away so many paths and all. किसी ने कहा वंदे भारत चला दीजिए, अब चला दीजिए, रेलवे वाले रो रहे, they're crying, but they can do nothing about it. Just grin and bear it. Okay. So, coming to my old theme of finding a problem, and one very interesting thing is, ये कितने साल हो गया होगा, I don't know, when you can place a demand online and 5-10 years now, you can place any request online and buy things or less.
14 years.
10 साल हो गया होगा.
14 years.
Huh?
Yes.
Almost 10 to 14.
Yeah, 10 to
10 to 15 years. But imagine, for placing demand for wagons, you still had to go to the goods shed. Okay? Go to the goods shed, place a demand and come. Now let me tell you, once there is a manual process, and when wagons are supplied based on the who has placed the demand earlier, there is a lot of things can happen. So in 2015, as the executive director rates and trade marketing, I said this is enough is enough. So we sat down with the Chris and everybody. It took us 6 months to design a module where a demand can be placed online sitting in your office. आपको कहीं जाने की जरूरत नहीं, आप अपने कहाँ अपने इंडस्ट्री में बैठिए, आप यहाँ बैठिए, जहाँ मर्जी बैठिए और वहाँ से you can place demand. Same thing with railway receipts. I have seen it's very sad, the customer goes to take the railway receipt after loading. Now somebody will demand something. अरे यार, इतना आपने loading करा, चाय पिलाई. Looks very shabby. So in 2015, we issued instruction to totally digitizing the system for placing demand, which everybody else, every other fellow who sells biscuits to cakes, this cake that came, you could have placed the order online also, right? But we could not do it for the railway wagons. And the railway receipt, again, is a big process, because when the receipt comes, then it has to send to destination. आपको रेलवे की रसीद देके डेस्टिनेशन भेजना पड़ता है. तो 2015 हो गया. 16 I came as the principal chief operator in South Central Railway. So I forgot about it because I was in the operation side. I said, let me do this. And then in 2020, COVID strikes. So on the second day after Modi ji's speech at 8 o'clock, next day around evening, the chief logistic officer of Tata Chemicals calls me. Sir, my rate is reaching Punjab, but RR is with me. बताइए मैं अब क्या करूं?
No career.
Now with everything locked down, I mean, most of you will be aware of the lockdown. So nothing would move. He said, what do I do now? कि मेरा रेट तो पहुंच जाएगा. So I said, indemnity bond. There is nobody to give indemnity. Everybody locked up in the room, in their house. Who will give the indemnity bond? So I devised a mechanism. ठीक है, आप ऐसा करिए, WhatsApp करिए, वो करिए. So temporary arrangement we did. And then I took out the 2015 cycle. And I was the boss of commercial. As additional member commercial, the entire commercial department was under me. Then I went after the railways with a bid. I said, I want you to do it now. From March to I returned in July, April, May, June, July, 4 months. 68% of the entire system had come on to digitization. So the people in board were nice. After 3 months, somewhere in September, October, my executive director at that time, he said, sir, 100% done and no more manual work. So manual is not an avoid. वो इसीलिए हुआ था कि रेलवे इज गोइंग ऑन and I also did the fag end of my career. The question is, you found a problem. We said, we'll solve it. And believe me, when I wanted to do it, a team of senior officers of accounts, commercial and I think one more, they came to me and told, sir, you have to amend the IT Act. Indian Information Technology Act को आप amend करिए. When I read the act, I said, इस जन्म में तो होगा नहीं. इस जन्म में नहीं होगा. So complicated. So I said, where do I draw the power from? So, if anybody has read the Indian Railway Act, that's why I keep saying, when you read something, read it very carefully. It says RR can be issued in the form so prescribed. Okay, so I prescribe it in digital form. End of the story. So my member traffic में Mr. Dev Pandey बोले कि तुम कैसे करो? मैं साइड में लिखा act में form so prescribed. So I issue a circular. Now it is digitized. End of the story. So it is what 5 years ago. No, there has been no questions raised on it. It's 5 years now. It is going through. My sincere apologies if I was trying to tell you मैंने बहुत किल मारे ना. Please don't take it that way. I am only trying to convey that the most difficult problems, and it is not easy, let me tell you, you think placing demand for wagons is not a very easy module. People don't have any idea. Can you imagine, I don't know how many of you know, that the railway decides कि कोयला कहाँ जाएगा. Colliery decide नहीं करती. आप लोगों को शायद पता नहीं. ये रेलवे डिसाइड करती ये कोयला कहाँ जाएगा. वो बता देता है कि मेरे को ये 10 जगह ले जाना है तो रेलवे वाले कहते हैं आज यहाँ भेजेंगे वहां भेजेंगे. The colliery has no control on various ends. So we have to design it in such a way that the colliery's request and railway this thing is properly met. So we were able to digitize the same. We were able to make what you call system work. 20 lakhs per day was the revenue saving in terms of money paid for what you call couriering the RRs. Roughly, 20 lakh per day was the amount saved by stopping the courier service. I mean, जो लोग courier करते हैं. I have one more minute. So, changes can be brought about. But आप decide करिए कि आज ये problem नहीं होगी. It has to be taken care of, and I am very sure that you will. And again, if you look at it, I come back to my point one. This was to ensure my customer did not suffer. Please note, Ultimately, the point of digitizing was not digitizing. We wanted to ensure my customer did not suffer at all. Please note that. I said, we will not make it suffer. COVID happened, fine. We will make the system work for it. We will make the system work for it. And that is how the customers were very happy. And before I sign off, I'll only say one last thing. How many of you had got the tickets bought when the lockdown happened? Online ticket, did anybody had bought at that time? And they could not travel because you had. What happened to your ticket?
4 times. 4 times.
What happened to your ticket? You got the money back?
Yeah.
You see, ultimate customer की बात कर रहे हैं. So, government decided 2 months no trains will run. Fine. So I asked my fellows, since I'm doing commercial in charge, how many tickets people are booked in those 2 months for the trains? You know how many tickets? 5.34 crore tickets of rupees 2,550 crores revenue.
Oh my God.
2,554 करोड़ और 5.34 करोड़ की टिकट्स. Then one more thing we realized is that there are a lot of people who must be going and all that. And suddenly, many places they lost their jobs, industry closed, so nobody paying. हो सकता है ये 2,000 रुपए उसको वापस मिल जाए. So maybe it will help him, right? I know airline didn't refund for years together.
Yes.
So what is the system for refund? You apply.
Yeah.
For the first time, we said no application for refund will be required. We block that refund module. We say automatic refund to everyone online. In 7 days, the entire money, 2,550 crores, was sent in the bank accounts of the people whose trains had been cancelled and whose tickets are no longer valid, without asking them to
apply.
apply for a refund. We knew so many may not have the access to the computer. Thing नहीं होगा. आपको रिफंड के लिए अप्लाई करने की जरूरत नहीं होगी, है ना? It came automatically. So at least we have a witness here.
Also, I have witnessed that airlines returned it after 6 months.
No, there was a discussion. I won't name the name of the chairman, but he said, एयरलाइन ऐसे कर रही है पैसे को आगे रखता है. सर ये भारत सरकार है. रेलवे भारत सरकार, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया cannot act like a kirana shop. Government of India acts like government of India. I have a large heart. 2,500 crore is neither here nor there. And for the railways, which does a business of 3 lakh crores, 2,500 crores is neither here nor there. So why should we bother about it? So we refunded 2,550 crores worth of tickets to everyone. And I don't think there is a single complaint I read in the paper, हमको रेलवे से रिफंड नहीं मिला. पर्पस एक ही था कि जो मेरा कस्टमर है वो दुखी नहीं. Ultimately it boils down to that. And the last one I'll tell, that when COVID happened, we were worried कि somebody may get into the train into the COVID. Station आया, COVID identify हुआ उसका. If you cancel his ticket and he doesn't get any refund, he will be wanting to travel के पैसे बचाने. So we also said, if you have identified, diagnosed with COVID at the station, full refund. So the people who had fever and all that, they said, okay, we will not travel, money is saved. So gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope you benefited from